We're going in hot. We got none other than Danny Thompson in the room, in the building. The last time Danny was here was maybe 2 months ago. Danny, how you doing?
Hey, you know what, Ted? It's all when you get the bat signal, hey, stop on by. You get honored and to call on this show. So of course, when you ever turn it down?
You turn me down all the time.
Oh, come on now.
But no, Danny, as always, you've been a great friend through the years.
Of course.
As we talk about parenting, we talk about sports and things in everyday life, because you've changed professions and you finally came over to the dark side.
I know. Like, it's funny because if you go back in the time machine, the days of BSS, barbershop sports, and you and the great Hezzy McCaleb was always talking about the world of IT and trying to get me involved in the world of IT. And now it's like, I guess I'm part of being Yoda now. Part of the I got sucked into the Matrix. I took the blue pill, and now I'm in IT now.
I'm telling you, it's better to be on the side and be a Padawan than that red pill or blue pill, because take too many of those blue pills, you might wind up in a hospital. But that's another story.
I'm already in IT now, so where do you
stop? So it's good that you're in the world of IT. Things always change. You're always learning, all the above. You're going to enjoy it. And the best thing about it is, being in IT, things are going to go fast. You're going to blink your eyes and you're going to be like, 5 years in this business, 10 years in this business. And that's coming from someone who's been in this for 25.
No, I mean, Ted, you're the same age as the WNBA when it comes to IT, and 25 years.
Hey, here's a few things we won't be talking about tonight. A few things such as what won't we be talking about? We won't be talking about the hot debate of vaccines versus masking, versus cable news, all of that stuff that's brain draining and the like. But one quick topic we'll talk about quickly in regards, it does dovetail into the whole vaccine and mandates, is our good friend Kyrie Irving. Kyrie is a friend to your room. Overall, great person. Does a lot in the community for people. Can be seen as being eccentric. And also, someone who believes the earth is flat. So
he took it back. Took it back years later.
But with that being the case, Danny, there's so much. It's like you can become entangled in this whole situation, not putting anyone else to the side, but just Kyrie, his role with the Nets, his role with the Players Association, living in New York or playing in New York, which is, inside is, which Brooklyn being inside New York, private facilities versus public facilities. What's your take on, and not wanting to put you on the spot because I know you're friends with him, but what's your take, if you can give a PC take on this whole situation?
I mean, here's the thing. It's, in times I've read Kyrie in the past, it's always been very enlightening and very, he is a very, very interesting human being, but his heart is always in the right place. Okay, so I'm not going to debate on this topic whether it's going to be what is he doing right or what is he doing wrong, because in any situation in life, it's a personal decision. But when it comes to the matters at hand, and what's literally on the table is the fact of, with him not being available for at least 45 games, maybe 40, I think 46 if we're counting the game in Oakland, it's going to hurt the Nets. It's going to hurt. I said this on Beyond the Buzzer, my show, on Thursday nights on Facebook Live and other platforms is that him not being on the floor is hurting his teammates. Now the good news is that he can practice with his teammates because of the private facility rule that they're allowing for the Nets training facility to count as a private institution or a private building. So it does help because Steve Nash had mentioned that it's hard to play him on opening night if he's only had literally one day with the team from the time they've left California until opening night. Where are they at right now? Well, he's still unavailable. He's unavailable for home games. How long is this going to last? We don't know. But if you think about this, about 10 days ago, the hard line was he couldn't practice. Now he can practice. I don't know how long this goes on. We just hope eventually that he comes back to the floor because the longer this drags on, the longer we're going to continue to talk about it. And it's going to take away from the most important thing in Brooklyn is listen, they were half a Kevin Durant foot away from being in the Eastern Conference Finals and taking away Giannis's legacy at this point. Excuse me. So that's the most important thing. The Nets have a talented team. We should be more concerning about can the Nets win the Eastern Conference and are they the favorites win the championship? But until this Kyrie Irving situation gets taken care of, we're going to be talking about this from now until the cows come home, which is unfortunate because Ted, I mean, you're in New York. You've watched plenty of basketball over the years. The Nets are the most talented team that city has seen literally since I can't even tell you. And you can't probably remember the last time the Nets were a New York basketball team was this talented,
right,
from the top down. So
they
that's
were
what we
over
should
the
be talking
top.
about. But as far as the situation with him and the vaccine, Kyrie, one thing he'll march to the beat of his own drum. He's
Yes,
always marched to the beat of his own drum. Whether you like it, I like it, the public likes it, anybody else likes it. He marched to his own drum. And whether we say he should be on the court, whether the next person say he should be on the court, whether they say he should be vaccinated or not, he can care less what anybody else thinks. That's one strong characteristic that he does not care what anybody else thinks. So no one can speak for him. He speaks for himself. He controls his own narrative. We just hope that as pure basketball fans, as someone who covers the league, that we get a chance to see him do what he does on a nightly basis. But for right now, that's on pause. We'll see him opening night probably.
In the chat, we have none other than Tony D. Big shout out to you, bro. True Armor, Precious Thompson, the first lady of Beyond the Buzzer. $381,000 per absence if Irving remains ineligible to play. Roughly, I was a math major. That's about $16 million. That's going to go into the ether. Does that matter? Does $16 million for this season matter for a multimillionaire who's used to being a philanthropist, giving away money, doing things for others? Does something like that matter? Does that move the needle?
In Kyrie's case, no. In Andrew Wiggins' case, it was a different story because Andrew Wiggins is a guy that's looking for his next big payday, and he has 100 million reasons from his last contract. But Kyrie, if since most people are philanthropists, Ted, they have money to give away, which means they're very, very, very good with money. Kyrie has a humongous shoe contract and also other, things that he does off the court. So trust me, if he was hurting for money, this would be a different story. I don't think money's an issue, and he's never been about money. It's never been one of those situations where it's important. So I don't think he's worried about the dollar figures. I don't think he cares about, losing the pay. I think it's more about his principles and what he believes in. So if you're willing to leave $16 million on the table because he's only going to get paid for half the season, if that player association rule passes, then listen, he's willing to stay on his laurels for $16 million and whatever future money is afterwards. I think he's pretty comfortable where he is, and he's comfortable in his own skin at this point.
Is it safe to call the Nets a big three after last season? because they really weren't on the floor a whole lot. I think under 10 games, this iteration of the big three was on the floor together. So are they, in your mind, being the basketball savant, are they a big three, or are they just three phenomenal, you know, um, athletes?
They're still a big three. As long as they're still under contract, they're still on the roster, they're still wearing jerseys, you still can buy them. You can take all the memes and jokes with Kyrie Irving being on a Zoom with a jersey in the middle of a game, because Ted sent me one the other day. You can say what you want, it's still a big three. They're the most dangerously offensively big three, Ted, and the most gifted offensive three talent wise I have ever seen on the offensive end. Those three guys on the offensive end is I've never seen that type of talent at the same time. That includes when Golden State had Clay, Steph, and KD at one point, because Irving and Harden do something completely different than what Steph and Clay do. It's a little bit different because Harden's is a triple double threat every night. Kyrie is one of the best finishers and arguably has some of the best handles in basketball, on top of being an elite shooter. And we all know what Kevin Durant is. So yeah, is even though the number of games haven't are up there, Ted, when they're on the court together, the plus minus is insane. How badly they outscore everybody is insane, and their per 100 possessions, I think with the three of them would have set the NBA record if they were played long enough. A record they already set anyway without him being on the court. So it was even worse when he was on the court. So they're still a big three, and they're still lethal and deadly. You can call it what it is. As long as all three of them on the court together, it's still a big three.
Danny, I want to segue from this topic, and I posted a link in the comments field, and it's called "The Kids Are Not All Right." So you've probably heard of the TikTok challenges, but
I
have you
have.
heard of the havoc they're wrecking in U.S. schools over the last year? And this is, during COVID, challenges like devious licks, where students steal and vandalize property, has spread like wildfire throughout schools in the US. But now challenges like SlapATeacher have teachers at their breaking point. So bathrooms in school throughout the country are flooded, vandalized, and wrecked, and teachers are finally speaking up. Um, TikTok announced its intention to remove hashtags related to destructive behavior, as the platform is in agreement with educators. The rumored SlapATeacher dare is an insult to educators everywhere. So, after a year of lockdowns, both students and teachers alike are adjusting to being back in the classroom, and it's apparently not going well.
Mhm.
Have you heard about SlapATeacher?
Yeah, at first, my wife, because we both work in the school system, uh, I heard about it, and then we know we both watch TikTok. We've seen it, and the challenge basically was, you know, people walking up and randomly slapping teachers. Now, there were plenty of teachers on TikTok saying you can try what you want, but there's a difference because Ted, the generation that I grew up in, the generation that you grew up in, I know, we'll crack jokes like we always do, but our generations are completely different. And the generation I'm from, we are from the 2000s when we were in college. We've graduated high school in the 2000s, in the late 90s. And our mentality is different because kids don't understand how this my generation grew up. They've already said one kid slaps them, they're not going to be responsible for their actions.
Right.
And in the place where I'm from, around the teachers I see every single day, a lot of them, if you slap one of those teachers, they tell, I'm not gonna lie, some kid's going to get drop kicked.
Right.
It's real simple. Like, there's a thing, Ted. You can throw a spitball at a teacher. Ted, old school. No, you remember the spitball days. You probably created it. But what I'm saying is, it's you look at, they threw things at teachers a long time ago. It never got to the point, or you talk bad or back to a teacher. it was never physical assault. Now they're threatening physical assault because they think it's the cool thing to do. It's going to take one kid getting flipped over a table because the teachers that are in my age bracket will flip a kid over. All right. They come from that part where, don't touch me because you get reacted to. So it's going to take a kid getting drop kicked and flipped over before this happens. But the good news is, where I've seen the kids are not that crazy enough to try it. But there will be someone who will do it because they think it's cool. And Ted, what happens when you try to be cool? You get burned at the end.
That's true. That's true. Um, I guess segueing from there, what did you do? So you're IT now. What did you do this past week when Facebook, WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, and Instagram all went down? Were you like bombarded? Were people looking at you like, Mr. Thompson, do something? Are
Mm,
you blocking us with your firewall, or what'd you
mm,
do? Like, how'd you deal with it?
Nope,
Did you
because
lose your mind?
I didn't lose mine because I was too busy working.
Okay.
We have too many issues with kids and Chromebooks and Wi-Fi in the school. Nobody's really worried about Facebook. The only reason why I knew that Facebook was going through it is because Twitter had become immensely filled with everybody commenting on something. My notifications went off on Twitter like it was nothing, but I didn't go crazy over it. I think I text my wife. I was like, "Hey, I think Facebook is down or whatever." I think that's what I might have done that day, but it wasn't nothing extreme. It was nothing crazy on my end. Teachers, the teachers are so worried and so concerned about other things throughout the day. A lot of them don't check Facebook, and it's crazy. The school didn't mention nothing about it, so it must mean they aren't even updating my social media in my school. So it wasn't that serious to me.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Um, right now, what's going on in New York right now is New York Comic Con, to a much lesser degree than San Diego, the original San Diego Comic Con. A few things. Anything in regards to Comic Con altogether? Are you looking or waiting for any star or TV show or upcoming movie? Is there anything that kind of moves the needle for you?
I want to see how many people wearing Squid Game costumes. All right. I want to see how many people are wearing squares and circles and triangles on top of their head. Because to me, I think that's going to be the biggest thing for Halloween this year. I think everybody's going to cosplay and dress up as these Squid Game characters. I think it's coming. I mean, that's the new thing. I was thinking about doing that. I think my wife is probably watching. She's probably going to take my idea, but I was probably going to do that and do that around the house.
Okay. All right. Um, I will mention that, and I'll put it in the comment section. Hang on one second. Heavenly Dew, how you doing? Thank you for stopping in. I put in the comment section, Twitter goes down and the box of shame. Of course, we all know that Amazon um, owns the streaming giant Twitter, and they had a double whammy of bad news at its doorstep this past week. The company's source code was leaked online, along with the details on creator payouts, code from an unreleased Steam competitor, and other internal docs.
Hmm.
The debacle was about 135 gigs in total. Leaks like this are kind of extreme given that the portions of code that were implemented as recently as last week. You got a lot of different outlets calling the leak a hack, but it's likely that somebody used the garbage password for their GitHub, which allowed an enterprising leaker to cause chaos. Um, the leaker posted, here's it. Here's the key part. Jeff Bezos paid out 970 million for this, and we're giving it away for free. Which this basically involves a handful of de facto monopolies. Among them are Twitch, YouTube Gaming, and Facebook Gaming. Um, Leaks are always embarrassing, but it might be more embarrassing for streamers who could see their streaming related income posted online. So right now, there's no indication that personal information, for the non-streaming public was part of the leak. You are a content creator. I'll just throw this out. Hypothetically, you are a content creator. You monetize your podcast, you monetize your live streams, and the like, and your likeness.
Mhm.
How would you feel if your information was just pushed out there for the world to see, Danny?
I mean, it's frustrating. It's upsetting. You know, your personal business is being let out there. It's just like it's the same as having your bank account shown everywhere across the world. I mean, to some people, the like for example, Twitch is your main source of income. So now people know how much money you make. You know, Ted, we're both wrestling fans. In that leak, they showed the income of Twitch for 8 wrestlers on the either the WWE payroll, AEW payroll, or free agent payroll, and
Right,
one of them is Paige, and Paige makes over 500, almost $500,000 a year off of Twitch,
right.
which means that we understood why Paige was fighting to keep her Twitch money when she was dealing with the WWE. You
Yes,
know, you see Adam Cole making over $35,000, and you hear the story of how much NXT wrestlers were making or those things, and like, okay, so you have the understanding, but like you mentioned before, as a content creator, I wouldn't want my personal business out there. I think it'd be upsetting. Any type of security breach. It's like it's like an invasion of your privacy. You know, some people now just imagine, Ted, if you were that content creator who didn't share with your spouse how much you were making on these streams, and
right.
now it's public knowledge that your wife knows that you make $45,000 on streams. So my wife knows I make $45,000 on streams, so I don't have to worry about that. But it's invasion of privacy. It's just another way of people knowing your personal business. And now the good hopefully they don't have names to faces and addresses and that stuff coming out, because that makes people even more of a target. But it's still sad regardless.
Gotcha. Danny, we're running out of time. We got 3 topics that I want us to jump into. Let's talk Sunday Ticket.
Okay.
It's without a doubt, it's probably leaving DirecTV after this season. Sunday Ticket alone, NFL itself is looking to make anywhere between 1.5 billion to $2 billion a year to license Sunday Ticket.
Hmm.
Do they either, and this is just in your opinion, do they go with one of these new streamers like Apple TV, Amazon, because they're already in bed with Amazon for Thursday Night Football and their plethora of shows, and
Hmm.
also with the advanced analytics and everything else like that, or do they stay with legacy, meaning stay with DirecTV, go to like an ESPN Plus or the like, or like a Peacock or something like that? What is your thought if you are Roger Goodell and you are the business office and you are the brain trust of owners? Where do you take Sunday Ticket?
I'm taking it to the place where automatically I don't need to have. I take it to a place where I have a built-in fan base, and that's Amazon Prime. I take it directly to Bezos. And here's the reason why I say it. Because we've already experimented with Thursday night games on Thursdays with Amazon, and you're already experimenting with other ways of streaming for sports. They've done it with the WNBA. They've done it with Yankees games and simulcast. I think we've done it with EPL in the past, or English Premier League. Listen, every person has Amazon Prime in the country. They have it, and you already have a built-in fan base. You raise the Amazon prices a bit because guess what? It because so many people use Amazon Prime, the actual buy-in won't be hard. If you raise the Amazon price, Ted, like $4 or $5 a month, but you're throwing in Sunday Ticket, women across the country are going to complain about it
Okay.
because they use Amazon Prime anyway because of free shipping.
Okay.
I can put money, says if they raise Amazon Prime, let's just say from the we're paying per month additional $5 or $10. And I'm sure my wife won't complain about it because they're adding Sunday Ticket on there because as much she orders Amazon, that free shipping basically takes the monthly cost away anyway. I mean, and Ted, to be honest with you, Amazon has the money, Amazon has the resources. I worry if you go to a smaller platform up and come like an Apple TV, how many people are you going to lose Sunday Ticket with? Because some people just don't like Apple in general. They just
Okay.
don't. You know, there are more people who dislike Apple than they do Amazon because Amazon is part of your life. Everybody has Amazon Prime to some part in the United States. Do you stay with Legacy and DirecTV? Well, here's the problem with that. If you stay with Legacy, which is fine, you need to make sure that Red Zone is not a part of that. Because if
Right.
anything, everybody complains about Red Zone. Ted, it's not even about the games anymore. People want Red Zone,
People
and
want red zone. Yes.
people want the the Dish Network version of Red Zone. No
Mhm.
offense with no offense with the DirecTV version, but everybody wants the Dish Network version of Red Zone. That's the one everybody watches on Sundays. I watch it on Sundays. You know, and so you have you have all these different platforms, and I don't think ESPN Plus. People do not want ESPN to get this at all. ESPN charges for everything else, Ted. I was on ESPN Plus the other day trying to read an article, and they said, "Oh, you guys subscribe," and then it says, "By the way, ESPN Plus is going up next month." Like it's if you're going to do it. Go to Amazon. It's already established. And Ted, you're also going to hit a new consumer base that you haven't hit before. You're going to hit women. You're going to hit the one. You're going to hit the female fan base because guess what? A lot of the women and people and the casuals don't watch football. Ted, if it's on your screen and you're watching Prime Video, you're going to watch Sunday Ticket. You're going to come across it one Sunday. You're going to come across it. If you watch enough, if you're not watching a Prime Video, you're going to watch it. And so I think, and then with all this stuff Amazon's doing with the advanced analytics, the AWS features, the stats, imagine how it would change how the way you watch football. But Ted, we had talked about this off air, in a regular phone call. I think with Amazon or Apple TV, I think you really make money if you peel off the individual teams
Yes.
and you give people ways to watch football.
Bang.
You know, we had mentioned, yeah, that's something you had mentioned that if and I'm a Falcons fan living in Virginia, I
Right.
don't really care about watching that. I just want to watch my Falcons on Sunday. And you make a package that you only get Falcons games.
Yes.
I,
That's what
I'm
people have been asking for the longest of for. I mean, it's been on DirecTV for 27 years. Believe it or not,
mhm.
it's been on that long. But people are asking for, and I just want to acknowledge the people in the comment field. Big Mike Copenhaver from Cope's Corner is in the comment fields. Heavily Dew is also in here. And Lorenzo Garza has just stepped in the building. Big shout out to you guys. Thank you for jumping in. And I will say this much: I have a different approach. I like the smaller companies, and when I say smaller footprint. And I might be miscategorizing this. I like a Peacock, or I like a Peacock because Peacock is more of an extension of NBC Universal
But
versus
Ted,
a
but Ted,
standalone service.
we saw how Peacock handled the WWE network.
Right. I'm with you. Just roll with me on this.
Okay, I'm listening.
Um, Here's where I guess things get a little fishy because the 1 o'clock and the 4 o'clock games Eastern time are CBS and Fox affiliates. So it's going to need a provider that's going to be able to pull that feed. And I'm wondering, if like an um, ESPN or an NBC does it. I think they have the bandwidth to do it. Believe it or not, as crazy as it sounds, I like Apple TV coming in and snatching it because they currently only have 20 million paid subscribers. That's something. And I know, we dislike Apple, we dislike Amazon, but I think they would have the ability to splice those packages so that ultimately what the fans want. Well, I'll speak for myself as a fan, what I would like. If I'm, and previously I was a Sunday ticket subscriber. So they give you this supersized package of 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock games for $350. Okay. But I only want to see one specific team. If I'm in, if I'm an out of market person, or am I the type of fan that's looking for the best game at 1 o'clock and the best game at 4 o'clock? A lot of those times, those games are on free TV. Because they meet those specific windows.
Mhm.
Um, Mike, be quiet. Mike, we're with you on that one. So I kind of, for the average fan, Mike, who doesn't know about that type of stuff, you kind of wonder, for packages like this, how do you, how do you splice them? I think the ultimate move by the NFL, here's what they're going to do. They're going to say, screw everyone, and they're going to make a package available for the cable subscribers. So if you're Comcast, if you're Charter, if you're Fios,
Mhm.
everyone's going to have a package. That way, you cover everyone, you get the most money, you squeeze out of everyone, and NFL is king. You agree or you disagree?
I mean, that's a great idea and concept, but does the NFL have enough time to go over every package? Because, with every cable subscriber and every cable network, or every cable company in the country, in Ted, one of the one things that cable companies always provide now is you're able to stream your cable services through all your devices. So, you're going to raise cable prices even higher, and you already got people cutting the cord anyway. You got people who don't want to, want to pay. They would rather pay Netflix and Hulu and YouTube TV. They're going to pay other streaming services their money instead of give it to the cable company who are already overtaxing people anyway. You know, I see what you're saying, and I think it's a good idea. The only issue I have with that is because if cable was at a decent price or even affordable price, then yeah, you could have
Right.
that idea. But Ted, I mean, I used to pay $200 a month for cable and internet.
Right.
Like, that's $200 a month, and then you already know that the NFL package is going to cost you.
Oh
I mean,
yeah,
Ted,
it is.
it's not going to be, you know, it's not going to be a reasonable price because it's the NFL. You said it's king. I think that the way to do it is, like I said, if you take somebody that's already have it. Now, maybe I like the Apple TV idea because now that means you have Apple money coming in, you already have Amazon monies coming in, and then you already have the three networks paying you anyway for their Sunday games, and you have NBC with Sunday night, and then Disney giving you money from Monday night and the playoff games. So if you take an Apple TV, then that means you're getting another source of income someplace else. Or like I said, you go Amazon and take take that guaranteed Bezos money because Ted, if he can't buy a team, why don't you let him get Sunday tickets since he can't buy a team right now?
Right. Right.
Let him own something.
Hey, we're gonna segue because we're going into overtime now, Danny. Two remaining topics, and we'll get to it. Um, Fury Wilder tonight. What's
I'm
your
going
take?
the take on Fury Wilder tonight. I'm taking Wilder. I know the first fight. I mean, Ted, he didn't look good in the first fight. I mean, he had the detonation knockdown at the end of in the first fight. That most Ted. I mean, I think Fury's the only person I've ever seen get up from the detonation knockdown.
Yeah.
The second fight, Wilder. I mean, he complained about wearing a 50-pound helmet on his head going into the ring and was tired and worn down, looked knock kneed. He just got outboxed. I think tonight Wilder's focused. Wilder sees the end of the rainbow. He sees the huge payday, but he sees the championship. I don't think Fury's in shape, and I got Wilder winning this thing in the ninth round by knockout. I think the big man goes down.
I'm going Fury. I'm going Tyson Fury. I'm going Tyson Fury in 11.
Okay.
I'm going Tyson Fury in 11 TKO.
He just looks
Um, say it again.
Fury looks. I think he was 277 at the weigh-in.
Hmm.
Ted, he might be. But Ted, we all know when you leave the weigh-in, you balloon a bit too.
Right.
Fury might be a full-fledged Zion Williamson getting into that ring tonight. You might. I mean,
Hey.
Yeah, go ahead.
Will in your mind will we see a Fury Wilder 4?
It's not under contract. They're supposed to walk away after this fight. But if Fury gets knocked out and it's 1-1-1, Ted, it would make sense to have a fourth fight. But because here's the thing, you can't delay a fourth fight because as we've learned with Anthony Joshua, delaying
He's
fights
trash.
costs you money. If you're Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, if you saw Anthony Joshua in somewhere in a back alley, you're knocking him out. Not
Yes.
because of principle, it's because you know how much money this man's cost you by delaying fights and losing twice. Ted, he was undefeated. You know, he had the look, he had everything. And him and Wilder were both undefeated. Getting in that ring together, Ted, would have been a box office, whatever you want to call it, to the heavyweight division was back on the map. They couldn't get it together. Fury beats Wilder or makes Wilder draw, and then Joshua gets knocked out by Andy Ruiz.
Yep.
That payday's gone. You know, they get the rematch. Ruiz was who we thought he was. He wasn't.
Yes.
It is what it is. And then he gets the belt back. Fury's waiting for him to fight in London.
Mm-hmm.
Ted, the fight was in London. That's a $200 million fight
in his backyard.
Ted, 200. That's easy. $200 million a piece.
Yep.
How much money that would have made? Ted, we're talking about what? I'm just going to make a number. What, £100 per person to get in the building for a ticket? People are going to pay it at Wembley. Then he gets knocked out by Usyk, and guess what? Now nobody wants to fight Joshua because he's got a glass chin at this point. And Usyk, no offense to him, the heavyweight champion, isn't a draw. No one knows who he is.
And it's an immediate rematch, and we know what's going to happen in the rematch. So they're going to get around to. They're never going to fight, and you're going to have Eddie Hearn doing his usual silliness, and
costing money. Like Anthony Joshua should have had $300 million worth of money. But Ted, because Eddie Hearn is from the Rich Paul School of Negotiating, he just lost a whole bunch of money. I bet you Anthony Joshua was looking at Eddie Hearn the same way Nerlens Noel is looking at Rich Paul right now.
Yes.
But you just cost me the bag.
Hey, I really want to talk to you about tomorrow. UK game, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time.
Best game of the week.
Jets, Falcons. Well, I mean, it would have been better if they were both, I guess, 0-4, and we could have called it the toilet bowl. But the battle of the 1-3 teams. What's your take?
I mean, you know, being a Falcons fan, I'm extremely excited about it anyway. So, I mean, you know, it's a chance for us to go to London. I hate the fact that Atlanta lost this home game as a regular home game because they're the home team. So it kind of penalized the Falcons only have 7 home games, the only team in the league that has it. But on the field, Atlanta is shorthanded at wide receiver. Calvin Ridley did not make the trip due to personal reasons. Russell Gage is still injured. So the Falcons have to rely on Cordell Patterson. I mean, Ted, where was Cordell Patterson a year and a half ago? Now he's Atlanta's multi-purpose weapon, running the ball in the backfield, catching passes. And what we haven't seen in Atlanta side of this, what Kyle Pitts can do. He hasn't had that breakout game, and I think this is the week for Kyle Pitts' breakout game. On the Jets side of things, it's been the good, bad, and the ugly. I mean, it was ugly to start the season with Zach Wilson. They were pummeling Zach Wilson. And then Ted, last week.
It just happened.
last week it just happened. You're right, it just happened, and Ted, they didn't beat anybody. They beat the Tennessee Titans, who thought they could rest Julio Jones and AJ Brown
Come
against the
on.
Jets, and they came back.
How much
And
how much hubris is that from Vrabel?
I don't see. Here's the thing. Julio Jones is out today, out tomorrow, and AJ Brown's coming back from injury. I say they rested them only because of the fact that it just doesn't make any sense how they should have lost that game, especially with Derrick Henry having 170 yards in the ground rushing.
Right.
Um, what I will say for Sunday, for the early morning game Sunday, is Atlanta's going to try to throw the ball and try to establish the run early with Mike Davis. Arthur Smith wants to run. I expect Matt Ryan to be able to gather play action. I expect them to actually line Kyle Pitts up as an actual wide receiver as well as being a blocking tight end with Hunter Hurst. I'm excited. The Falcons, this is a game Atlanta cannot lose. Ted, if at this point, if Atlanta loses this game, they're headed directly to the toilet bowl at this point. All right. Atlanta's talking draft pick at this point if they lose. This is a game Atlanta has to win. They cannot not only go into the bye week at 1-4, going into the bye week at 1-4 after losing to the Jets. You can't lose this one.
You can't.
So
you can't.
I'm not going to give an opinion because I'm a Falcons fan, so I'm taking the Falcons tomorrow.
And of course, I'm taking the Jets. I'm just really going to enjoy. I'm going to miss service tomorrow, but
Vice versa.
9:30 a.m. game, Eastern time. Really excited about that. I just don't understand why. And Mike Copenhaver from Cope's Corner, as usual, blessing us. We appreciate you, bruh, with the Super Heart, the Burst, and the Appreciate Award. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So with the 5-hour difference, how hard is it, Danny? Instead of it being a 3:30 game, with the 6-hour difference now, how hard is it being a 3:30 game versus them going at nighttime, where it would be 9:30 there and around about 3:30 for us, 3:34 o'clock for us. It could have been a late game.
I think, of course, the difference in time is going to be
Yes, it
affected.
is.
But with any type of affection of time, when you go over there, it takes a couple of days. That's why the Falcons and Jets, I think, have been there since Tuesday. I don't know if the time is going to affect them too much. I'm more concerned with weather conditions more than anything else. London is known for rain. London is known for not the nicest weather for these London games. So I think weather's more of a factor. I think the players have kind of got their bodies ready for this. And the good news is that when this game is over, they'll be flying back over for a nice full 13 days off to get ready, for the second half of the season. It's I want to see what the Jets have to offer on the offensive end. With who's going to run the ball as a Michael Carter, what they're going to do with Jameson Crowder, wide receiver, Mims, and those receivers. Like I said, for us, get up early, watch this game tomorrow. As you were saying earlier, it's exciting. I'm gonna have my waffles and pizza rolls ready. I'm gonna do a combination of breakfast and tailgating food at the same time. So I'm excited for tomorrow. So
I will be live tweeting / taunting you the entire way.
see, Ted, here's my question, Ted. See, for those who don't know, Ted has more than one team. So are you a Jets fan because Russell Wilson's injured right now? Is that the real answer, Ted?
I don't think Russ is coming back this season, to be truthful.
Oh, I think he is. Well, Ted, I mean, let's not count former New York Jet Geno Smith, the only rookie quarterback to beat Tom Brady.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Listen,
Precious, thank you for the Appreciate Award. Hey, we're getting ready to close out. Danny, tell us about everything that you do. How do we find your work? How do we find your live streams? Your, when you go live on Facebook, potentially heading back to terrestrial, all the above. Where do we find the wonderful world of Danny Thompson?
You can find me on Twitter at Danny D8NNY #3 Thompson on Twitter. Live tweeting a lot more. I'll be live tweeting the WNBA finals starting tomorrow. I'll be covering the finals for the as far as the Phoenix Mercury goes. Game one of the finals is 3 o'clock tomorrow, so follow my live tweeting everywhere. Follow my post game work, of course, at the 3pointconversion.com, where I cover the Mercury as well as the Charlotte Hornets. As far as other things going on, the Charlotte Hornets begin their 2021-22 season on, I think it's October 23rd, against the Indiana Pacers on a Wednesday night. I'll be live tweeting the game as well as the Hornets post game show, which will be on Haps, YouTube, and other platforms. And with every
Wow.
post game, we'll be back on the Haps like we did last year, taking post game from all the Hornets fans, answering all your questions, things that we learned, things that we saw, and then a few things that are cooking in the pot. We're not going to air fry it just yet. We're going to let it simmer in the crock pot.
Okay.
As things get more finalized and more up to date, we'll talk more about those things. But the NBA season's here. It's exciting. Like I said, check out the work 3pointconversion.com. And yes, Ted, I have finally finished my final 75 in order. The 75 greatest players because our 75th season. I'm gonna try to have it out by Tuesday,
Okay.
um, as well as the preseason top NBA 75 for the current day players. So I have both those lists ready to go. And like I said, there's gonna be some interesting people on my list where I have players, and I'm sure Ted, you're gonna want to talk about that on a future show sooner or later.
Definitely want to talk about the 75 players that have influenced this league, past and present. Definitely want to talk about it. Final question I want to ask you, and it's a rhetorical question, so you really don't have to answer it tonight.
Okay.
When does ESPN start showing the WNBA some real love? How do you have a finals without a pregame show? What's up with that?
The same reason why you have the two potential elimination games on ESPN two. Ted, this is the same. Ted, I know we talk about how much we love Peacock, but they give ESPN treats the WNBA the same way that NBC treated the NHL. As we learned, Ted, there's no way the NHL's Stanley Cup Finals should have been on cable.
No.
Unless it's ESPN. ESPN is the only acceptable cable provider for a championship series because it's a total sports network. That's the only acceptable answer.
So this stuff is not even on ESPNW?
Well, no, Ted. So ABC will have game one tomorrow. ESPN will have games 2 and 4. ESPN2 will have games 3 and 5. Because game 3 falls on a Friday night where they have college football on a Friday night, like you couldn't move college football to a Friday night for some on ESPN2. Game 5 is scheduled, I want to say, for next Tuesday or Wednesday. But on that night, the NHL, which is returning to ESPN, has Blackhawks and Islanders.
Wow.
And I want to say that's the first game in the Islanders' new building.
Yes, at UBS Arena.
I think that's the first game in the new building, Islanders and Blackhawks. Don't quote me on that, but that's I think it's one of the very first games on ESPN's package.
Nice.
But I will say this: the Mercury do not have to move their home games for games 1 and 2 of the WNBA Finals. They'll be playing at the Footprint Center. The Suns actually agreed to move their preseason game, to 2 o'clock, the day of Game 2, which is on Wednesday. They agreed to move, so it'll be another doubleheader with Mercury and Suns. Suns preceding the Mercury game on Tuesday for Game 2. So at least we have that, and the Mercury can play at home.
Hey, I do want to finish up by saying Blackhawks Islanders is exclusive to ESPN. There won't even be a feed locally. There won't be a feed locally for the local channel, the local MSG feed. That's that part of that new deal. And I could be wrong, but if you look at the new ESPN deal, there's exclusive games, meaning it's totally cutting out the local provider.
I mean, and tell you know what though, that just shows that ESPN's serious about the NHL this time around.
Yeah, I wish they were serious like that about the WNBA, and if not, allow it to go somewhere else so they could flourish.
Well, Ted, the real question is, Ted, let's be honest with you, as we've learned, who will take the WNBA as serious as ESPN at this point. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I wish that the WNBA would have a big enough platform where you have a Turner jumping in. I think Turner would be great with the
Turner
W.
would be great. I think even you're gonna laugh. CBS Sports Network would be great.
They've done, but
To
Ted, they've been there, done that with CBS Sports Network.
right,
And let's be okay. So here's the one thing with CBS Sports Network: the W is on CBS Sports Network. They're on
it
different
is only
platforms.
only a handful of games.
But Ted, the thing is, the production that they give for it is minor league level.
Okay,
Ted, there are a lot of times they're taking the arena feed and they're broadcasting cameras and broadcasting that everywhere. The same way as much as I love Amazon's coverage of the WNBA, they took the local feeds and did it, even for the Commissioner's
right,
Cup. It's they took local feeds, so it wasn't like they got their own package. ESPN at least gives them their own announcers and packages studio show. Can they do more? Of course they will. And I think tomorrow, when I have a chance to speak to Kathy Engelbert of the WNBA tomorrow, I'm gonna hopefully have a chance to ask her something about how future coverage is going to work. Because Ted, if you look at the numbers, Game 3, I haven't seen the Game 5 numbers, but Game 4s was the highest watched WNBA game that wasn't finals related, I think, in ESPN's history. I mean,
wow.
Ted, you're going Game 4 against Major League Baseball playoffs. You're going at a 10 o'clock tip off time. All right, and you're still drawing 500,000 people to watch women's basketball in non-prime time hours. I mean,
Hey,
the
hey,
league is coming up.
we got True Armor in the building. True, thank you for coming through, Danny. That's a discussion for definitely another time, because I think that's a product. If it was truly embraced by some provider that's going to say, "Hey, you have exclusive rights to this package. Go make it happen."
I'm hoping Amazon in year 2, because they have the package and they're trying to do more with the league. We can get we can get a broadcasting team. We can get a studio show. I mean,
Right.
I gave Amazon year 1 a pass because, let's be honest, Ted, they still haven't gotten the NFL right.
No, no, no. But I think they're going to have it right now
Yeah,
in preparation for next season, because they hired like an EVP of sports. They're
yeah. So,
starting
so I
to put
wasn't
the
too
shows
disappointed.
together.
It was disappointing, but I wasn't disappointed. So I think year 2 of the WNBA, because I think with the Commissioner's Cup, Ted, I mean, that was a phenomenal idea. I think they'll probably bring it back into play next year because it gives the women, a chance to make extra money and make the regular season games count more. But yeah, we can talk about the package. We'll definitely talk about it because the finals start tomorrow. I hate the finals start on a 36-hour turnaround
Yeah,
after Phoenix won last night, and
that's BS.
Diana not being 100%. Um, Prayers up go to Kia Nurse after tearing her ACL. Former
And
she played for
Diana's what, 36, 37?
Diana's almost four. Diana's 39.
She's 39. All right.
She's
She's a
39.
goat.
Candace Parker's 35.
They're both goats.
But Ted, the crazy. You mentioned that, Ted. So before we go, it's great to see the WNBA have the finals in the 25th year, where they had the voting for the go to who is the go to the league,
Right.
and 3 of the players on the list is playing in the finals right now. You
Yes.
have Diana Taurasi, 39. We all know Diana's background. Candace Parker at 35. We all
Yes.
know what Candace has done, and then Brittany Griner.
Yes.
You have 3 of the 25 goats of the league playing in the finals right now on the 25th anniversary of this league, and arguably Tarasi might win the award for the might get the goat award. I don't know if she's my goat. I mean, she's definitely in the top 5,
Okay.
definitely, maybe even top 3. It's just for me, it's hard to go against Cynthia Cooper.
Lisa
Under
Leslie,
Lisa,
Cheryl Swoops,
I mean, I think between Lisa, Cynthia, Cheryl Swoops,
Tina
um,
Thompson.
I think Tia's up there, but I think Tamika Catchings, Maya Moore. There's so many names, and
Yes. Yes.
there's so many names on the top of that 25, Ted. When you look at the greatest players in this league, I mean, there's nothing against DT or anything like that. I love DT; she's a great person, great interview, always something good to say when you talked about her. But man, when you're saying to go to this league, Cynthia Cooper. I mean, Cheryl Swoops is the only person to win 3 MVPs and 3
Yep.
Defensive Player of the Year awards.
Yep.
But no one in a 4-year stretch ever did what Cynthia Cooper did in 4 years either.
Coop. No one ever did. Hey, I do want to give a big shout out to Kyle Nash, your tag team partner for
Yes,
Beyond the Buzzer. Big shout out to Kyle. Love what you do with the
yes,
NFL.
he should be working. I mean, if he's not watching, he should be working. He's covering the UCF game tonight.
Gotcha.
So go Knights.
Go Knights. All right, Danny, we're at the 55-minute mark. We've gone into triple overtime,
Yes,
and I think we're out, but we know where to catch you. Danny 3 Thompson. Follow him on Twitter. Follow him on other social channels. He's a great follow. He's a great read and awesome writer. And also ultra engaging. And he's going to be a good sport tomorrow when the Falcons get beat by the Jets. All right, this is Late